a great news was announced by the State Department. Big news coming in this week. And what have they decided? Well, they've decided to roll out a pilot plan. And what is this pilot plan going to do? Automatic revalidation of visas, the AVR as it's called. Kya hai AVR? What is AVR? Why was it taken away? What does this pilot program mean for all of us? Well, I am going to be talking all about it with attorney Ishan Anand from Chugh Law Firm. Hi there, Ishan. Welcome.
All right, thank you.
My name is Neha Mahajan. I am the American Alien, and you are watching the American Alien podcast. All right. So, Ishan, this great news coming in. I literally jumped, when I saw this visa revalidation program, which will be a pilot, gets announced by the State Department. Tell me more about it. I'm very excited.
And they just announced it. We don't have information on it. They are just saying later this year we will start this program that you don't have to leave the country.
Yeah.
You can simply, once you have your H-1B extension, you can send the approval notice, your passports,
Yeah.
and with the fee to you know here, and then in the DC, I think Washington DC, that's where they're starting. They're basically they're opening up a DC, right?
Right.
So DC, and then they will give you a new visa here. You don't have
Right.
to leave the country. It used to happen decades ago, 2 decades ago, like I think
2004 until 2004.
they stopped 2 decades ago, and now because of this COVID and all the backlogs, people cannot travel. It's kind of a restriction,
Right.
meaning you are giving benefit, but basically people cannot use the benefit.
Right.
So H-1B comes with the benefit that you can travel,
Yeah.
right? But if somebody, and it comes for 3 years, right? So H-1B
Yeah.
comes for 3 years. So you are working a year and a half and then it expires, and then you file an extension. You already have an extension. Extension is again for next 3 years. But in the meantime, you have your visa expired. You
Yeah.
can, and then you want
It
to go
is so
back.
confusing. People get confused. Arey, I already have a visa. Why do I need another visa stamp? And that
Yeah.
infamous visa stamp that you need to go to your home country and get your visa stamped. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So then
continuous.
suppose you have like somebody who is sick in the US and you want to go and meet your parents or family members. Somebody is getting married. You have a a sister who's getting married, but you don't have a stamp.
Yeah.
And if you go back, you cannot enter the country unless you have a valid new stamp. Now, to get a stamp, there may be a wait for a year or so. Uh, you know,
More, I think. The last time I
so
checked, the dates were in 2025. We are in
yeah,
2023 right now, February 2023. Oh my God.
yeah,
I can't believe the madness that there is to it. Yeah, and
yeah.
people have done everything. There are agents who will block your dates, who will buy them in bulk and then sell it for such expensive amounts. And then, you literally by the hook, you can't do anything about it because you'll have to pay to get this visa stamping date. You
Well, that's illegal. That's
I,
illegal. And
well,
if
as per
somebody
USCIS, it's not illegal. Can you believe it?
now, if somebody is doing that, I think you should report that person to
Yeah.
to
But I
USCIS
don't think
and some.
USCIS thinks it's illegal. I don't think that's the case, actually. I read up somewhere, I don't think it's illegal. They don't really outrightly deny it. Okay, but they are not even accepting it. So there is that gray area. I don't know. So, anyways, well, I am very happy. I have a personal story to share. My husband was stuck back in 2021 in a similar scenario, peak of COVID. He had to go to India. And he got stuck there because there were no availability of visa dates, and suddenly the consulates were closed because April 2021 there was a second wave of coronavirus that took over and consulates were shut down. And what do you do? And what people don't realize really is that it also jeopardizes your visa status. Well, that's the gray area in law that we keep talking about all the time, because if H-1B is outside of country for prolonged time, right? So those H4 visa holders who are sitting in the United States of America, what happens to their status? Technically, there is no status. Technically, you are out of status, but that's a gray area. So, anyways, at that point in time, back in 2021, I would thank Senator Menendez, you know, over and over again. He was instrumental in bringing him back. And since then, I have seen thousands and thousands of people on H1B go through similar cycle. And I kept wondering, I used to talk to senators. I have been sending emails and letters everywhere, asking them to start this automatic visa revalidation here in the US. So you were right. Up until 9/11, Attorney Ishan, the visa revalidation, which you said used to actually happen here in the US. So people wouldn't have to really step out to get their visa revalidated in India. But after 9/11, they were, the biometric was introduced, the interview was introduced, which the State Department did not have capabilities of basically doing it here in the US. And that's why they were
When
like,
was
okay, sorry?
when was it?
They
9/11
were,
was in 9/11 was 2004, 5. When did
no,
it
no,
happen?
9/11 was 2001, but it was stopped in 2004 because there were certain changes that were brought after
Hmm.
9/11, right? So the Patriot Act was introduced, right? So as per the Patriot Act, this whole biometric, and the visa interview thing was brought in. So that is why, by 2004, this was stopped. Many of us had not even ever heard of this. Really, I've spoken to people who've lived here in this country for decades. They had never heard of it, but well, this seems like a very welcome change. And I'm actually very surprised that the State Department is actually launching it. Last year, I think in ALA conference, they had, you were there, right, Ishan? At the ALA conference, they had announced that they will think about it. They might do something about it. But them announcing it so soon, like within probably 6, 7 months, well, I think there's some political pressure to it.
So trend is actually going towards it. Trend, if you see, trend is they are trying a lot of different things, comprehensive, which includes illegal immigration too. But I would say the trend is towards legal immigration. If you're trying to do, basically, if you're trying to get a benefit, um, uh, basically provide benefit to illegal immigrants,
Yeah,
then I don't think you can go far. But for legal immigration, I think yes, the trend is towards that,
right.
and they will get it.
Yeah, but some people are also saying that, for documented immigration or the legal immigration, it's always the peanuts that come their way. Instead of really tackling the root cause, which is green card backlog, as we all know, and especially for those born in India, it's humongous, right? It's 100 years as per some projections. So
They would never.
yeah, yeah. So instead of focusing on that, well, they just solve, small little problems here and there, and then they call it reform, but that's not what it is.
They would never understand because they would never suffer this problem. The thing is, I cannot basically focus. I cannot tell you what kind of problems legal migrants face. And you provide DACA, right? You fight for DACA. Oh, DACA is this. We should give them dreamers, this and that, right? Now the problem is, dreamers are who? The people they poured in illegally into this country, right? Think about people who came with a visa
Yeah,
and have children under 16, 15, 14,
yeah.
and then they
There's no
you file.
protection. There's
Yes,
no
you file.
protection.
There's nothing. You
Yeah,
file your green cards, and suppose think about a child is
yeah.
now over 21. You
Aging
have to
out.
send them there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now what? What they so because they did not come illegally, now you are telling them to go back.
Well, this is a huge welcome change, and if this pilot program becomes successful, so many people who are literally struggling to find a visa appointment date in India will benefit. Someone's not able to find dates in India, they could go to Canada or Mexico, which used to happen, but then these were also
Yeah.
backlogged, and at one point in time, they were not even accepting these dates. right?
Yeah, because third world country, they say, if you are not a legal permanent resident of this
Yes.
country, you don't come to us.
Yeah.
But now they are doing it because there are some countries which are backlogged for like 5 years, 4 years.
Right.
Pakistan is backlogged because of Afghan war. Whatever
Oh,
happens in Afghan, right?
yeah.
So Taliban took over, so now people are rushing to Pakistan. So Pakistan is backlogged. India has always been backlogged.
Right.
So some people are rushing to going to Canada. Now the thing is, I would actually love to see Canada and Mexico taking over. Why? Because you don't even need a visa to go
Yeah.
to Canada, Mexico. So there is automatic revalidation
Yes.
if you go to travel to US, Mexico and Canada, less than 30 days.
Right.
You don't need a visa. Meaning,
Right.
even if you have expired visa stamp, but you have valid I-94, you
Right.
can leave US, go to Canada, Mexico, and come back within 30 days.
Yeah, I want you
So
to explain this 30-day thing again because I feel like there's so much confusion around it. People just don't get it. So, what is this
uh
30-day clause?
it's same thing. Visa revalidation. They don't give you a stamp,
Okay.
but they allow you to re-enter the country even with the expired visa visa stamp on your passport, as
Okay.
long as you have valid I-94, meaning as long as you have extension in hand
Right.
and your visa is expired, you can actually go to Canada or Mexico
Right.
for 30 days or less. You can re-enter, and they will revalidate
Okay.
your stamp. That's okay. But the thing is, in this case, revalidation is not a new stamp.
Right.
But we are talking about new stamping now.
Right.
So U.S. Department is saying that we will give you a new stamp. They will
Yes.
charge you a fee for it, and
Yes.
they will start later this year. No dates uh,
Right now.
yet. There's
Yeah.
nothing, and you don't know what will happen. They will revalidate for everyone, meaning H and H4s,
Yeah.
or they will
We
simply
don't
give
know
you,
yet. Yeah,
yeah,
we don't know
or
any
they
of
will
those
just,
details yet. Yeah.
yeah, just the primary. Because if it's just the primary applicant or beneficiary, then I don't know. Then I don't know what's, I don't know.
Well, like I said before, it's peanuts as compared to the larger issue, right? But again, there's something. At least the State Department is thinking about it. At least they made some effort into recognizing that this is a huge issue that impacts people's lives. Think about it. I was actually reading a case on social media, and this has happened to so many people. People travel to their home country to get the visa stamping done, and because the process takes forever, and God forbid you're stuck with 221G, the administrative processing, there is no upper end to it. You don't know when that's going to happen, right? When you're going to get your
What
passport back, right?
what
And
I've seen
yeah,
lately, 221G, they consulates are using this to just buy some time.
right,
There is nothing in the case that
right.
warrants 221G.
I so agree with
But
you.
but but consulate is saying, okay, we have so many applicants and we don't have time to process all the visas, so let's just give them 221G, and that's it. And they are
This
just
is so unfair. This is so unfair for those because the jobs are in jeopardy. Because of this tech layoff, so many people lost their jobs while they were in their home country waiting for the visa stamping. This is not something that they are, that's under their control. And they were just laid off. Why? Because they were taking a bit too long to get visa stamping in their home country to come back. So think about it, right? So, forward thinking, right? So if this program, it's a pilot program, goes through, right, and they are really happy with the way they have um, set out everything, which I feel they already have a manual. Really, they used to do it. All they have to do is recreate the same thing that they used to do before 2004. All they need is probably a new office and a team to do it, to pull this off. Don't you think this will get backlogged a bit too soon as soon as this gets implemented?
I don't think so,
Yeah.
because the I I believe that the original way of doing it will still be there,
Okay.
meaning you could actually get it done outside also,
Yeah.
and then there are consulates outside, right? So you have existing uh, program in place. You are adding more by giving them opportunity to get it done
Oh,
here.
okay.
So it will be a relief to basically consulates abroad,
Right.
if you start here, so then I think you would have both ways to do it. So I don't think it will be backlog. I don't think so. Here's the thing: I don't think immigration system as a whole has a lot. I think it's just they don't want to do things.
Right.
They are piling up. There are piles of files. They are sitting on those files and they don't want to work. That's what I feel. I don't think they don't have people to do the job. They have a lot of people. I used to go to interviews where officers used to tell me, you know what, that office they just don't do. In COVID, some
Yeah.
officers were working.
Right.
Some took it as a way of avoiding work. So they just
Oh God.
so so they
Yeah.
just sit on the piles of files, and again, so whenever somebody talks to me and asks me like how long it will take, so I tell them I don't know. It depends on the officer who gets your file. If
I
an
agree with
officer
you.
is willing to work on the file,
Yeah.
then it's not a. So you don't. I don't think you need 8 months, 9 months to approve an I-130. I don't think that.
Yeah.
I-130 can be approved in like what? Maybe like 2 weeks.
Or H480 for that matter. There was a
Exactly.
study done which said that
Yeah.
H480, they really spent 7 or 9 minutes on it.
Yeah.
And they were taking forever 2 years to process
Exactly.
an H480.
Yeah.
It's like they
So
forget about it.
yeah, and that's I personally feel that way
Yeah.
because if I don't think there is anything in I-130. If you have abundance of evidences, right? What I sent with my application, the I-130, and if an officer is doing it for like at least 2 3 years,
Yeah.
I think the application should be approved in 15 minutes. You can actually check everything. Yeah, if you're running a background check, if you're doing some
Yeah.
security, if you see, oh, this person was in deportation, maybe entered illegally, maybe um, overstayed, then yes. But if it's a simple case and everything is in line, and you have all the biometrics and everything, and you see there is no background of criminal background.
Yeah.
I don't think it should take at least more than 2 3 weeks.
You know what will also help? A little transparency from USCIS. I think that'll go a long way. I'm pretty sure you know it. I've been on the receiving end of it. You deal with it every single day. You know how it goes. But right now, I just feel this is such a welcome change that the State Department has plans to roll out a pilot program that will restart the visa revalidation domestically here in the United States of America.
What's the wait? What's the wait? You don't need approval for it.
I
You
know.
don't need to
They
change
have
any
the authority to
immigration
do it.
laws,
Yeah.
right? You don't
Yeah.
have to change any immigration laws. They should have done it in 2020,
Or even before that.
2021,
Yeah.
right?
Even before
So,
that. Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just
Well,
uh,
this is the discussion for today. This is the discussion for forever, I think, because if immigration were to change, if the Congress thought immigration could change, if the government, the administration thought, if the State Department thought immigration could change, they could have brought in so much many, many years ago. But here we are sitting into 2023, and the last time immigration reform happened, remind me, when was that? I think 30,
I
35 years ago.
I feel 1965. We are still carrying 1965
Oh
rules
boy.
and regulations. That's what I feel.
Right.
Nobody did anything
Yeah.
in immigration, and mind you, basically we call this country land of immigrants,
Yeah.
and the entire system of immigration runs with the speed that what migrants pay.
Yep.
All right, taxes that they pay, and
Yep.
everything, and then the quality they bring in
Yep.
from outside, and they acknowledge it.
Yep.
Companies, there are reports from big corporations saying that this kind of uh, value is not there in the US.
Yep.
That's called, so the perm process in itself is is a proof which says that we are unable to find willing,
Well,
able
exactly.
employee of this nature in this country.
Yeah.
That's why we want to bring in somebody from outside. And
Yep.
when somebody comes from outside, you let them wait for decades. their children age out, and
Right.
then and then you send them a notice to appear and tell them that if you do not leave the country, you need to, then we will deport you. I just recently got a case where the H1 beneficiary was, basically he died. They entered the country in 2010. Children, the daughter will age out in May this
Oh
year,
goodness.
and they sent her a notice saying, if you don't leave this country, we will deport you. Think about it.
Yeah.
13 years this child was living in this country with the parent who entered legally, worked in Apple.
There you go. That's exactly what we're talking about. CSPA, the Child Protection Act, right? Does not apply to aging out kids who entered United States of America documented with their documented
But
parents. But
but you give DACA to illegal entry. You know, if somebody entered illegally, they with children, you give those children DACA.
yeah, yeah.
Used
But
to.
you know what? We're going to get a lot of slack for saying just that. You know that, right?
I
But hey,
I
that's the truth. That's the truth. And we are not doing it. It's the government who's doing it. It's the laws who are doing it. It's the Congress who's doing it, pitting one set of immigrants against another, not
I am not
attending to.
against DACA, by the way. I use DACA. I use DACA. And that's a good program. I'm not
Yes,
against DACA. I'm just
yes,
saying that treat them equally.
exactly.
Or you should not equally. I would say you should have treated legal immigrants better,
Yep.
right?
Fairness for all, that's all we've been asking for years now, and hopefully with these discussions that we host, something will come out of it, like we've been hoping for the last 10 years. Attorney Ishan Anand, thank you so much for your time again today. I'll be leaving a lot of our information in the description box. Be sure to read that. All of our contact information will also be there. If you have a particular case that you want us to look at, Attorney Ishan Anand to look at, please send an email and we'll be happy to help you there. Again, this is not legal advice, and all the discussion today is for informational purposes only. It does not create an attorney-client relationship. Until next time, stay safe. I'll come back with another enthralling video, if you may. See you then. Take care.